All right, let's bring that beat back.
Boom. What's up, everybody? Let me go ahead and get started on all the fun here. Let me move my phone. So today we are working on the last mini that we're working on from this release. This was March's release, right? There you go. So we're gonna get a little dinosaur-y today. The plan is to do a cool kind of reddish to orangey dino skin and some stripes on the body, things like that. I'm using one of the dinosaurs from the old video game Primal Carnage as inspiration. And yeah, beyond that, that's pretty much it. We're gonna have some fun. So here are the other miniatures we painted up from this release. So we did this fun guy right here. Now, I printed this one out at 100%. So compared to a regular sized miniature, here I've got a random mini here at the table, so you can see decent size. I didn't blow them up any larger, but these are all 150. Everybody else that we painted up. So here we have this awesome guy. Had a lot of fun on this one. Still really like the way. I mean, I like everything here. I like the way the cloth turned out. I think the fur turned out really good. This one was a lot of fun. And then last week, of course, we did the crazy flame OSL nighttime, just weird lighting situation. I know a lot of people had fun with that. And this one was fun to paint in general. And then the first one that we did was the bone armor. So this was just a ton of texture and a lot of fun. We had a good time with that too. So it's been a really fun release. I did release on the Discord what we're going to be painting up for the new release for this month, next Friday, and it is the Dragon Hunter with the huge crossbow and his arm in the sling. I forget the name. But if the miniatures aren't released yet by the 15th, which is next Friday, then I'm still painting it. Either way, I have it, so that way we don't get delayed on the release. But they should be released probably by then anyway. They usually are, so I wouldn't worry too much if you're trying to paint along immediately. But so those are on the Discord, and then I'm sure they'll share those too next week at some point as that release comes out, so you guys know what to have ready for the videos coming up. So the only other thing, I painted this guy this week too, just for fun. This was a part of some of my Patreon stuff. We did this guy really quick and had a good time. Easy peasy paint job. Big old axe. This one was from the Warrens, Warriors and Warrens or whatever release with the bunny people and the Varg and all that jazz. So this one was a lot of fun. But this weekend I do have a Patreon class. I forget, I think it's color theory is what we're doing. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, we can go ahead and get started. Now then, we're going to go brighter first, then darker. Surprise, surprise. So I'm going to grab an orange first and foremostly here. I'm going to get this fire orange. Get some of that on the palette. And then I'm going to grab a reddish brown. So this is a rust brown, but that'll be kind of our in-between step to red from the orange. And then I will grab a red. So this is just blood red here. Now I would use clear red. I mean, I don't really have a good reason as to why I'm not, now that I think about it. Yeah, we're just not going to use it. We'll just use this blood red. But any normal red you've got should do well for you. And so the idea, right, is that we want to get all of the colors together for the skin before we do any of the freehand pattern, anything like that, and we work our way through. Oh, we need some kind of tan. So I've got this bronze shadow here. You can see right here, it's like a tannish ochre color, and that'll be sort of the base tone for the belly and everything like that too. All right, so I've got some of that on there, and here we go. So let me use a more busted brush here. Today I went through and cleaned all my brushes, so this brush is considered a bad brush for me, which it may look totally fine, but I can tell the difference. So, but I go through and I paint them all with some pink, so I know this one is don't feel bad about using it for just like texture and stuff like that. Okay. So I have the orange. I'm going to get it to that kind of glazed consistency. And let's start up around the face here. Like so. And underneath the jaw, well, I guess the jaw itself, and up underneath part of the neck. Then, from that color, I'm going to take the tans, that bronze shadow that we've got. I'm going to layer this in. Let's see, where's it going to go? Underside of stuff. Alright, so it's going to go underneath the tail. Backside of legs. This is pretty thin, but it should be okay. Back of the arms a little bit. And then there is fur up around the chest, so that kind of covers up anything connecting there. And then the belly that is covered on the other side. Back of the arm. And we'll go ahead and connect it to that orange there in the front. Now that all this is in shadow, because I do have the Zenithal Prime on there, otherwise it would be pretty bright and we need to work our way back with like a wash or something, but we don't really have to worry. Let all that dry. Now then, I'm going to take some of the rust brown, mix it in with that orange, and then this will be our next glaze we're going to use. I'm going to wait a little bit. Oh, I have a fan on. That's the issue. It's helping a little bit on the drying. I was like, how'd this dry so quick? But I know that's going to end up not being our friend if we leave it on the whole time. So I'm going to wait just a second. But the orange application's pretty much dry. All right. So I've got the new color here. And I'm going to start it off kind of tapered into the orange a little bit. And then it's going to go into the neckline. Let's see where else I want to put it. Maybe a little bit up onto the neck. And I'll throw a little bit on the front of the arms here too. But, so the idea here is we're just going to be working our way sort of down or working our way into the shadows as we work on this skin. So for now, again, we're just kind of getting our base colors in. And if all goes to plan, the longer we continue to work, the darker the tones are going to get. So we'll end up going to the red next, right? And then once we sort of take care of the skin, scales, whatever, and make sure all of that looks pretty good, then we start working in the black details and everything else in the body that we're going to be doing, including like the stripe patterns and all that jazz. So should be pretty cool. So we're going to let this stuff dry. I hope you're all having a good time today. I hope you've had a good week as well. If you are lurking, if you want to say hello, feel free. You can also ask any questions you may have. Okay, so I think we can start doing the red. So I'm going to go ahead and get the red. And you guessed it, it's going pretty much everywhere else where we haven't been so far. Shocker, I know. Hey, everybody. And this red right now, right, is going to end up looking kind of pinkish on top of the zenithal, but it's fine. We're going to do a sort of all-over wash with everything as well. I am going to kind of stipple along where we're meeting that sort of tan line. Easy peasy, quick stuff, though. There you go. That side's good. Whoop, if I don't throw the mini. I'm only allowed to throw the mini once a stream. That's the rule. Why do I keep almost throwing it? How funny. This guy's trying to jump out of my hand, I suppose. Why is this rubbing off? This should be dry. How did that just completely rub off the brush onto my finger? Well, that's good to know. I used a Posca marker. Maybe that's why. I'm gonna have to use something else to mark my trash brushes. I re-inventoried all my brushes today, and I was like, how many new ones do I have? And it's a little embarrassing. Definitely don't need any more brushes. I am totally good on that. I'm gonna go back for a second coat here. Across the very top. Okay, we'll let this dry, and then we will go in for our all-over wash on this stuff. Pull this out here on the leg, it's a lot. Then we can start building back up all of the color in the skin, and then once that's done, start doing the freehand patterns and all that jazz. So, some prehistoric goodness here. I should have done the overlay. I have a reference photo, right? Hold on, I'll pull it up so you guys can see. See the idea I'm going for here? So, I am going for this type of look. Of course, I say that. What's the newest one called? Hold on. Okay, I don't know how my computer gave me like literally a completely separate game. Or it showed me like the newest ones. I don't know. I'm getting like different results now. Wait, what is it? Hold on. Okay, either way, it's the red T-Rex. that's kind of the inspiration here. Red. I don't know. I'm just gonna search red T-Rex and see if it comes up. Here you go. This is no, that's not right. Here we go. This guy. This guy right here. So we are going for kind of something like that, a little bit. I have the image up on my computer. So, all right. This is drying almost. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get, let's take, we need, oh, perfect. So I'm going to use this red brick. You can see perfect labeling. You can tell exactly what it is. But I know this is red brick. So what this is a super dark, purpley red brown. The thinner it is, the more purple it will be. The pigment separates at a different weight than the other colors. But we're going to wash this all over everything. It won't really dry purple though. It'll dry like a very deep warm brown, which is what you want. I just have to make sure we're not going like too crazy with it, but it should be okay. Alright, so everything on this side is dry, right? Yeah, can I get away with no tea stains? I think we're fine. You can see it's going to pull out all the muscle detail. The sculpt is great in terms of like the muscles and texture you get. All right, easy. Aside. All the other details we're going to go back and do as well are very, very dark, almost black. So, like I said, we're sort of working in reverse in the grand scheme of things in terms of our brightness. But should work out just fine. Okay. We're gonna let this dry. See what we may need to adjust moving forward. So Sydney ran to the store before I started streaming, and she's done, and she just sent me a message, and she's like, I forgot my wallet. Now, she could, well, she doesn't know her, because you can pay with your phone at Walmart, but you'd have to, like, know your card to be able to pull that off. That sucks, though. I've done that before. Okay. Waiting on the world to dry. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this Noir Black. Or Black for the multilingual folks out there. But again, it's kind of like a charcoal black. It's not true pitch. And so what I'm going to do is, while everything is kind of drying and waiting, we're going to do the feathers. Haven't decided what color those feathers are going to be. I mean, maybe it's fur, but we're definitely doing feathers. That, you know. He is just a big chicken. The grand scheme of things. Alright, let's get these little spikes. What I'm doing is a little foolish, mostly because it's so wet around a lot of things that I'm painting. But I think we're going to be okay. Mostly the issue being it'll bleed into all the other areas, the black will, if it matches the amount of viscosity and the washes around it, but we're not running into that, you can see. Knock on wood. Really shouldn't be using my beater brush. I love how all that pink rubbed off on my finger. That's so funny. Okay. Now we do need to bring up a lot of these colors quite a bit in order to get the sort of darkening effect that I want on the rest of the skin. Now, it's a great base. The overall wash definitely played into the zenithal, so I kind of know the direction we're going to end up going anyway with a lot of the highlights. So, mission accomplished there, definitely. And this side, like we never even started. The May preview, it'll be a while. I think this month's preview happened definitely after the 15th, I think. Like, maybe around the 20th or so. I know we have a crazy, like, yokai themed release coming soon. Steve is working on a lot of that stuff, and it looks amazing, so I'm excited. That one I'm very excited for. Boom. Okay, so we're pretty much base coated now. Ready to continue on. All the fun. Now, that was a little bit... That's a little bit too wet right there. I'm going to go back in. I went in with the paint, but it just completely moved around. On us. Okay. Claws. Yep. Cool. I think we're good. Alrighty. Oh, nope. Look, we got... couple spots there. Oh, I'm actually looking at some supports that are stuck. But you can't see them though. I don't think you can tell. I feel like that's how half of these things go. I'll be like, all right, this is ready to go, and I prime it, and I'm like, what? You know, you think you've gotten like a perfect print. There's no real issues with this. There is a weird line going through the body, but this thing definitely did not print like that. So I think it printed at a bit of an angle. I don't remember how it printed, but that had to have just been something like physically bumping the table. And when this was printing, I was cleaning out my garage, so I probably did that. Probably a me problem. All right, we're cool. So I'm gonna bounce away from the trash brush here, put him back up there. Go to a better brush. I think this is completely dry. Aren't you? Yep, okay, that's dead. It's a very, very back end of a bottle. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the bronze shadow here. I'm gonna get some more out. Get some white. And let me think how we're gonna do this. So we're going to use this as the highlight color for the lighter areas, and then we're going to glaze the brighter colors back on top. So that should work out for us just fine. So we'll do that here. Now this color is super weak in terms of pigment. I've been using it recently. What did I use it on? Oh, we did it on the skin, on the ogre, and it was really making me mad because I just couldn't get it to cover the way I wanted. So I'm going to add a little bit of white to it. Really, this is just kind of like a regular skin tone. Nothing too crazy. Oh, let me just move this closer. Sorry, seasick people everywhere. All right. There we go. Okay. So I'm gonna start going in here and highlighting up all of our top edges, everything like that where I want the orange to poke through. And I'll be stippling in texture and everything as well, kind of going into where everything's darker. Still trying to keep the contrast the same as per the zenithal, so we're going to keep it pretty dark, right? Now these little plates right here may actually get changed to a darker tone, but we don't have to worry about that yet. Alrighty, so now in the neck, we're going to kind of fib our way. Fib our way through some of this texture. Meaning, this isn't really sculpted. I'm kind of looking for the very subtle top edges. A little bit, something like that. Okay. Remember, this is our orange. Now, we'll probably do the same color for our tan sections, but I only want to do it right color by color. Even though we're using the same color. I know that's probably confusing, but... Again, this weekend on my Patreon, we have a color theory class, and it's breaking down a lot of information on color theory. It is less of a demo class and more of a brainiac class, so I know a lot of people are excited about that. The second and last Saturday of the month is whenever we do our classes, so it is the $5 Patron People's classes this weekend. This side of the neck has a little bit more detail because it's more curved, or rather the skin is more wrinkly on this side. Okay. So I took that much further in the front. I'm going to add a little bit more right around the tip of the nose there. Okay, now then, I need more of that orange. That was too much, but it's okay. All right, so now we're going to glaze over what we just did. Let that dry. We'll go in for a little bit brighter section, but barely. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of white and some of that orange and make a nice creamsicle color. A nice, or dreamsicle in it, or a Flintstone push pop, for those that know. It's going to be the color we're going for here. I'm just going to go in for some really top-end highlight. There we go. This side, back up into the eye. Okay. Now then, I'm going to use the same color, that skin tone, and we're going to use that to kind of pick out some of the areas that had the tan. So same idea as the orange, except it's not orange, it's going to be a darker tan. And obviously we're dealing with much darker areas of the miniature as well, so I'm keeping that in mind. Sort of stippling up into where it breaks into the red. And we'll work in reverse too when we get to the red, so it's going to overlay onto itself. Back the arm a little bit. Up from underneath the little claw. And again, the texture that I'm building is exactly what we want. We want it to barely show through like the initial work that we did on the orange. And then of course, if it's an area that is in a lot of shadow, we don't really worry about it too much. That's why, like here on the tail, right, I'm only looking at that middle line. It's kind of build in where we would know that the tan is. Back of this leg. Doesn't really matter what our brush strokes look like here as long as we have the pickup of color. Literally chicken scratching. Perfectly what you want. Let's do the inside here a little bit. Okay, so now let's grab the tan. So here it is. I don't really have to do much to it to make it work because it's already pretty thin. And I'm just gonna glaze on top. Shocker. We'll let that dry. And we'll go back in. And you can see how it's obscuring what we've done already. And then for this time around, I'll mix down a little bit the skin tone that we had, but not by much. I'm knocking things off my desk. And we'll do little highlights here and there. Just like from the orange. And just highlighting back up on the belly there. Back at the leg. Okay. So you can see how we're building it all back in, right? We have that separated from sort of the orange there in the face. Oh, except for the back underneath the leg there. It looks terrible. We gotta fix that. On the tail, I'm just gonna stipple right in the center. Little dots. Oh, we need to fix the... Hold on. We're not just going to leave that back there like that. I mean, we can, but... We can, but why? There we go. We don't want to be like that. Come on. So, I can't wait to ruin this when we start doing freehand black all over everything. Alright, so... Go back in here. Same thing we did on the other side. Top side highlights, a little bit of stippling here and there. Just to show that there's a difference in color. Which is obvious, right, between the red and this, but... Is anybody out there painting while you're hanging out? Are you having any fun painting or gaming plans this weekend? My weekend's gonna be pretty terrible. I know that up front, so I'm not super excited. This week has been a pretty disappointing week in general, to be honest with you, but I tried to make the best out of it. Sometimes you just can't control things, so that's how it goes. One thing did go well. There was a sculptor that I had found a piece, and he's a 3D artist, and I had found a piece he had done, and it's not for sale or anything, and I figured out how to email him. Sent him a message. I was like, hey, I love this. I was wondering if I could license it or purchase it, right? So I could do a competition piece with it, paint it for myself, right? I love it. And this was a couple weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. And he was like, yeah, he was like, wow, I really appreciate it. And he was like, yeah, I would love to do that. But I'm busy right now with some other projects. So give me, I have to prepare the file and everything. But I'll let you know whenever I can get around to it. I'm like, okay. And so I was waiting and didn't really think anything too much of it. I figured I'd hear back from him. I'm going to glaze over some of these brighter spots one more time. Didn't think I'd hear back from him anytime soon, but he actually hit me up today and he was like, the file's ready. So I'm super excited to be able to work on it. I have another bust I'm planning on doing that'll be like a box art sort of competition level style, and I thought about putting that one off, but I'm too excited for the new one. So alright, I'm gonna make sure all that is dry before we move on to the red. Give me 1 second here. Oh boy, that is confusing. Now Sydney said she's lost her wallet. Okay. Great. Good news all around. All right, so we're going to be using the rust brown here to begin our red. Cool. Make sure she's okay. She's like at the store. So, hold on. Sorry, guys. She's freaking out. She came home and grabbed her wallet, and then she's like, now I've lost it. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know how we're doing this today, but not optimal. She found it. I was like, it's got to be in your car. Like, what? But, hold on one second. I got to send a message. Okay. So you can see, right, I'm putting this color pretty much on top of wherever that initial red was, and then I allow it to highlight down to the shadows in that deeper red with the wash. But we're going to keep going brighter, and then eventually darker, so. Well, black on top is what I mean by darker, but you'll see when we get there. It'll be a lot of fun. So much fun, guys. We're having so much fun. Drop emotes in the chat if you're having so much fun like I am, right? No emotes? Well, that's what I figured. This side. I am stippling it a little bit into the other color too, if it meets up. Stippling some of that red closer into the face.
我感觉我做涂鸦是想把它传播给大众，让大众更能深刻的和正确的去认识它。然后我对做涂鸦的概念就是说能给我们带来欢乐和乐趣就可以了。而且我觉得它可以改变我们对生活的态度，就是你要去坚持和做一些与众不同的这样一些东西。
You do more over here. There we go. Okay. Boom. Clean out the brush. Your emote was late. It's alright. Acceptable. Alright, so I'm going to take the same color, add a little bit of white to it. A little bit of that orange. So this is like a salmon color, or a peach, or a coral. Okay, coral. All the same vein. This will be our highlight for our red. Now, we're going to glaze it all red, remember, so... I mean, it looks okay in general, but it's not the optimal end result we're looking for. And this is all just traditional highlighting. So wherever those highlights would fall is where I'm going to go with this. But that way, whenever we glaze the red on top, it'll just be a super saturated red. Which ideally is what I would like. I'm just doing implied highlights down these ridges across the top of the tail. They're very subtle. There's a ton of them, right? So I'm just kind of picking and choosing. Okay, that's good. Another message, man, today is... Whew, a lot. My grandpa's in the hospital. He was having heart surgery. And, something happened with his pacemaker that prevented them from completing the surgery all the way. And so they... I don't remember. But I think... Yeah, hold on one second. It's my mom. Okay. Oh, a lot going on. Like I said, this week has not been great, but the tail here. Okay. All right, now then, should I do... I'm going to go a little bit further down on the tail in the front. Oh, no, I guess I did. Sorry, it's just the angle on the camera. I'm turning it. It's not showing up as much as I would think. Okay, so let's glaze everything here. All right, let's get the red. I kind of wish I knew where my clear red is. I don't know what I did with it, to be honest with you. This workspace has been absolutely destroyed this week, so. Or not even destroyed, neglected. I usually clean up my space every week, and I did not at all this week, so. Okay. Red glaze time, and I'm gonna go pretty chill with it on the first pass. I'm hoping. We'll see what it ends up looking like. Pushing up and away from the darker areas. Okay. This side. Maybe I'll let it dry so you can see the difference. Oh, it's perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. 15-year pause. Well, it won't take you long. It's like riding a bike. So all those highlights we just did are very subtle, but they all show through still. Probably end up hitting this guy with a matte varnish so you guys can see all the colors too a little bit better. Red is always a little bit shiny. Okay, let's glaze again. Boom. Okay, we'll let this dry. Where is my varnish? Right here. Crappy brush here. I'm gonna go ahead and hit everything so get rid of that little bit of shininess. And this is the AK Ultra Matte, which is great. You can use it through an airbrush. It's already ready to go through an airbrush. You can use it with a brush. You just brush it on like I am. Now, I don't know how much you need to apply to like protect a miniature, okay? I don't really use miniatures where I feel like I need to protect them. But I don't paint a lot of metal either. That'd be the real test, right? But if you're trying to get rid of any kind of shine or like satin shine to it from your paints, all you gotta do is just apply enough to make it look wet, and then it's good to go. Which is what I'm doing here, and it dries pretty much instantly. So by the time I'm done with this, we should be able to flip it over to the other side and immediately see the results. Can I show the varnish bottle? Yeah. Still wet. So my bottle has been sprayed on with some primer, but you can see it right there. AK Interactive Ultra Matte. I think it's like $9 for the bottle. Maybe a little bit more than that depending on where you buy it, but really, really good. You just have to shake it every time. It's like, it looks like milk. Okay, we're drying nicely here. So now I'm mixing black with the... Awesome. So now you can see the highlights a lot better. Let me zoom in. So now that I've gotten rid of that shine, you can see all those subtle, once coral colored, still wet over there. But now they just come through pretty easy peasy. So I'm mixing the red brick with noir black. And this is going to be our freehand color for all of our stripos. And I'm going to go ahead and just go for it here. And I want all of the freehand to be coming out of the spike area. So let's just give it a shot. So I'm going to do a thin line down the middle first of the main shape, like so. And I'm going to flesh it out on the outside by stippling. Another one. Let me actually mix in a little bit of the varnish too, because that color is going to be shiny and I don't want it to be, because it'll be mixed with the red brick. Okay. Get more noir black too. Okay. And for this too, I just want to make sure that my brush is wet enough that it's essentially like using a pencil or a pen. Alright, so we're building that in. More stripes around the leg. Maybe do some striping on the shin here. Something like that. Okay. Now the neck is going to be different whenever we do that. Let's see the arm. Let's just do... I want to make sure all of these little guys are black before we move on. Okay, so the arm, I want it to be like this. Let's do... I'm looking at like my T-Rex reference here. So really it's just kind of spotted. Okay. And then down the back of the tail. Stippling in that section. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and do stippled black across the top, up the rest of the tail. Alright, so the neck is going to be a little bit different. I want to do kind of a stripe pattern. So I'm going to do one right here. To the corner of the mouth, for the jaw. Same thing coming up from the bottom. And then right across the top here from the jaw. Okay. Now then, right around the eye and everything too, so let's go in here. Let's go ahead and make this black. Stippling around the front of the mouth. And then let's do like a little circular pattern there. Okay. And then I'll just do everything else black. I'm going to redo the stippling here a tad bit more. All right, side one done. It's pretty cool to me. Now we just gotta do it on this side. I mean, I do like it without the pattern as well, but I think the pattern just adds a much more, like, sinister nature to it. I'm gonna paint the base black really quick, too, so that way I can see all the contrast in our bright areas. It's kind of throwing me off. Anytime I have the zenithal kind of spray underneath, I always like to go back through real quick. Just so that I know what I'm looking at for sure. Okay. Now then, of course, I'm going to be going back and forth a lot like this to make sure I'm matching stuff here. So there's one low. Okay. Front of the mouth. And then in front of the eye, kind of sweeping. Okay, cool. Down the front of the neck. Front of the arm here. Stippling. Okay. So we got here. Now this section not as in your face as the other side because it's covered. Okay, and then this. We have what, stripes on the front? Yep. Is there one more? Wait, okay, so there were 3 on this leg. So I messed this up a little bit on the leg, but not enough for us to cry about. Okay. All right, and then in the back. Which I can actually do by looking at the top. Tell me where to go. And then I stop right about here. Okay. Dino's looking mean. Yeah, we're having a good time. Thank you. Comparing sides here. And then just stippling across the top like we did on the other side. Okay. Cool. So I'm gonna do the matte varnish one more time. And we'll do our finishing details. I'm pulling it out where it's kind of pooled. Cool, let that dry. Okay. So, for our feathers, let's do... I'm going to grab a little bit of a clear blue here. And I'm going to do like a bluish gray. Or kind of like how a crow is kind of like oily black. That'll be the idea here on the feathers. So firstly, I'm just going to overbrush with the side of my brush. Looks like he's ready to eat a meowza. Yeah, I'm sure. Alright, I'm gonna add white. Okay, so now I'm just gonna be looking for kind of the top edges here. I love now that the matte varnish is done, though, you can see the texture really well on his body. Okay. So I'm going to take that clear blue, very thin, and just kind of randomly glaze it over different areas. Like so. Let that dry. And then I'm going to take some of the black, a little bit of the blue, mostly black, and make a glaze out of that, and do the same thing. So we should have a shift between that lighter gray and then the blue showing through the glaze once it's dry. Alright, there's that. Easy enough. Let's do some teeth, huh? So I've got kind of a darker brown gray I've mixed out on the palette from everything that we've already have. Okay, adding a bunch of white. Yeah, I really like the way it's turning out. It looks pretty cool, huh? Hope you all have had a good time hanging out. If I were to paint this guy again, there were a few shortcuts I could have done now that we've done it already. But it has been, I don't even know, man, like, it's probably been 5 years since I've done any kind of like reptile-y pattern skin, so it's been some time. So I didn't know exactly how things would turn out. Sometimes you never know. I'm gonna put some white in the eye here. Just so we have it in. sculpt is also a good candidate for doing the black eye with a tiny white dot reflection. But I'm kind of thinking like yellow eyes or something. Oh, I messed up. I'll just glaze my mistake orange. Okay. Do a little black line. Let me get a yellow. I do like the idea of the clear yellow. Going over the eye there. Kind of hard to tell the difference between the white and the yellow, but it's there. I'm just glazing the clear yellow on top so it'll dry much more mellow. Okay, so now we've got all of the other spikes and everything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take black and mix it with the sort of skin tone color we've got. So this is kind of like a tannish gray. Be the best way to describe it. And this is going to be the color that I do for the edges and such on all of his spines and spikes and horns and etc. Good evening. How are you? Too much water in the brush currently. Okay. Okay. Let's mix up a little pink or something for inside the mouth. And I just mixed that out of the red that was already on the palette to do the membrane on the side of the mouth. Doing each little strand, bottom outline, top outline. Just like that, and then the tongue. Without painting the teeth pink. Okay. So, definitely had a blast. I think this guy turned out really, really cool. I had no idea what to expect when we got started, so very pleased with how everything turned out. It looks pretty close to the inspiration that I was going for, so that's nice. Again, we'll recap everything that we painted up from this release. Remember, you can get this release on My Mini Factory, or you can get it from Broken Anvil's website directly. You can purchase their previous STLs from there. Now remember, this guy's printed at normal scale. All the other ones are printed at 150, so these are a little bit bigger, right? But we painted up this guy, had a really good time painting him up. This was the first one we worked on with the bone armor. Really fun texture work there. And then last week's mini, we did the crazy lighting effect on her, and that was a lot of fun too, having fun with all of that. And then back to this guy. So yeah, I mean, I think he turned out really, really cool. Again, I think that skin pattern, I didn't really know what to expect necessarily, and it worked great. If you're going to be playing Rivenstone, you know, doing a skin texture like this on the murder birds, the little tiny pterodactyl guys, could be really fun. So definitely keep that in mind. Next week, again, we're doing the huge dragon hunter crossbowman. I'll be working on the mini, whether the release is out in time or not for you to print them. But definitely check out the Discord. I've got all the miniatures we're going to work on at that time, over the next release, right? Already up there, so you can check that out. They'll share it for you as well. This weekend, I have a color theory class. For those of you interested, it's at the $5 Patreon levels. Check out my Patreon if you would so please like to support me a little bit. You can check that out at patreon.com/JoshDavisMiniatures. Obviously, check out Broken Anvil, patreon.com/Broken Anvil, and follow all of their socials below. Rivenstone is launching at the end of the month, so definitely check that out if you haven't. That is their new skirmish game as well. Not 3D printed, no STLs available, but it is a physical game made out of Cyocast here in the US. And yeah, that is pretty much it. So I appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great weekend. You find $20 in your pocket and your enemy stubs their toe. And that's it. I'll catch you next week.